Hello everyone, I am Dr. Malvi Bansal and today we'll be discussing a case of esophageal ulceration for which an esophageal biopsy is being taken. So whenever there are any esophageal ulceration, so this is the kind of bits that you are getting from the esophagus. Now if you look carefully, one of the bit is showing you squamous epithelium, the other bit is showing you granulation tissue, and the third bit is showing you some ulcer slough with neutrophilic exudate. So the most common bits that we get from the esophagus are from the squamous epithelium. The normal squamous epithelium of the esophagus is non-keratinized squamous epithelium. So you do not see any keratin on the esophageal squamous epithelium. But here what we see is, though it is not keratinized, we do see there are areas of parakeratosis. So these are the nuclei which are retained within the epithelial lining, and this is what we call as parakeratosis. And there is thin layer of parakeratosis within the epithelium. Then these are the lamina propria papillae, which seems to be congested, as you see that most of them are filled with RBCs. Then these are the epithelial cells which are showing some spongiosis, and that is why you are able to see some intercellular bridges. So as you could see here, the intercellular bridges are very beautifully seen here, and this is the prickle cell layer which has become more prominent because of the spongiosis that we see in between the squamous epithelial cells. So this is more, some few more spongiotic vacuoles that we see here, and otherwise the epithelium appears to be damaged because of some injury that we will see what. Now, in addition, we are also seeing these neutrophilic exudates on the surface. And here, if you look carefully, so these are the, again, squamous epithelial bits, but the nuclei are very distinct from the nuclei that we are seeing here. So these are the normal squamous epithelial nuclei. They're vesicular, they have got a prominent nucleoli. But if you compare these nuclei with the nuclei of these cells, they are showing a relatively ground glass appearance. There are areas of nuclear clearing. So there is a chromatin clearing, and most of the chromatin is present at the margin of these nuclei. So this is called chromatin margination, when you see the chromatin which is being present at the margin of the nuclei, and rather the nuclear is showing clearing of the chromatin material. So this is called ground glass appearance or an orphananii nuclei. Now the second important thing to look for is that these nuclei are showing irregular nuclear membrane. So there are areas of nuclear molding. So this is an irregular membrane which is showing nuclear molding, and second is this clearing of the nuclei. In addition, there are few cells which are showing these multinucleated appearance. So a few of these cells have got more than one nuclei, and these are the multinucleated cells. So these are three features which are classically seen and which will give you a hint that this is a viral inclusion. And these are the three things that we usually see in a herpetic esophagitis. So what all things are there? So you will see margination of the chromatin. The three M's will goes. So margination of chromatin, molding of the nuclei, that is nuclear molding, and then multinucleation. So these are the three M's, and if you see these three M's, then you should start thinking of a herpes viral inclusion. Now if you look carefully, so one of these nuclei and this nuclei, they look slightly different, because in this nuclei you do see a prominent eosinophilic inclusion, and then which is being surrounded by a clear whitish halo which is surrounding this nuclei. So this is a Cowdery type A inclusion, which is an acidophilic eosinophilic inclusion which is present within the nuclei, and this is a ground glass or an orphanania nuclei. So once you know that this is an ulcer slough, then you know that the damage that has been causing this ulceration is the herpetic esophagitis, or it is the herpes inclusions. Now another important thing is that most of these inclusions that you see in the esophageal biopsy secondary to herpes, they'll be seen at the edge of the ulcer. So they will not be seen at the base of the ulcer. So if the endoscopist is going to take a biopsy, you will tell them that these biopsies are to be taken from the edge of the ulcers, because that is the place where you are going to find these herpetic inclusions. So similarly, like here also, you see that there are neutrophilic exudates, but there are also presence of these inclusions, and this is nuclear clearing or ground glass appearance, and these are eosinophilic inclusions, that is Cowdery type A. So they are more beautifully seen here, Cowdery inclusions and orphanania nuclei and few multinucleate cells. So these are the few things, but if suppose you are getting an active esophagitis and you're not able to identify these viral inclusions, so what are the other things that you should also look for? So one is your CMV. So even if you are not finding any inclusion and you know patient is a post-transplant recipient, you should go for a CMV immunostain, because at times the inclusions will not be visible on the routine histopathology. Whereas for herpes esophagitis, you do not require an immunostain to confirm this, and even this histological finding is sufficient enough to call this as a viral esophagitis, which is likely secondary to a herpetic esophagitis. Now another thing that will come as a differential is the pill esophagitis. So if you see a a predominance of eosinophils along with this infiltrate, or together with a large number of polymorphs, then you should think of a pill esophagitis. We also see candida in the esophagus biopsy, but in cases of candida, generally the neutrophils will be confined to the epithelium and they will not cause significant ulceration that we see here. So most cases of candida will just be a yellowish plug or a membrane on the esophageal mucosa, and there won't be significant ulceration. So that was about herpetic esophagitis, and we'll be discussing more cases as we move along. So thank you so much. Thank you for your patient hearing.